Get our acceleration here in just a moment and see how this engine, of course someone's driving a little like, oh my goodness. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2022 Range Rover Sport HSE Silver Edition. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Land Rover here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this Range Rover Sport. Check out the inventory link below. Let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a turbocharged 3-liter inline-6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 19 around town and then 24 on the highway, with power outputs being 355 horsepower and then 365 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over the front end of the Range Rover Sport. So first off, you guys will notice that we have the really cool accent pieces here on the side. It says Range Rover on it, and yeah, they just look fantastic. Now coming down below, we've got our Range Rover logo right there. And then notice we've got the LED lights with the LED accent lights. And then we've got a bunch of venting down here with the parking sensors integrated into the venting on the piano black trim. And you guys can see everything there behind it. Looks really aggressive though overall. I definitely like it. And then notice more blacked out trim there at the bottom. And yeah, just seeing the whole thing, it looks really good actually. Now coming on the side here, we've got two 75mm tires wrapped around 21-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And if we take a closer look at the wheel itself, I love how they have the silver on the top. Then you do have some black just down below and then also kind of in between the silver. And overall, it's kind of a complex design, but it looks really good. And it actually matches the overall theme of the Range Rover Sport pretty well. Notice we've got another accent piece here off to the side. We've got the two-tone mirrors. And then notice here at the bottom how that is blacked out, which again creates some nice contrast because you've got the black and the silver there on both of the wheels, and then also kind of on a couple of the accent pieces, and then on the front, on the bottom, and then also with the roof, how the roof is silver, and then how you have the black there on the pillars. All of that just, yeah, looks fantastic. So here's our key fob. Notice we've got the Land Rover logo, and then we've got the unlock, the lock, the light button, and then press that, and that'll pop open the rear hatch. So we've got the cargo cover back here. Notice that you've got the little latch right there. And then this does have the air suspension, so you can raise and lower the rear to make the loading floor a little bit lower. You can see all the goodies that you get with this from the factory. Tons of stuff, absolutely crazy. But other than that, that's all for the back. So press the button, wait for it, wait a little bit longer, boom. Now let's finish things up here in the rear. So first off, again, we've got the Range Rover logo, we've got the Sport HSE badge, and then also we got the 3D lights here, so you kind of have the LEDs kind of all in a row. Looks really cool at night. And then notice we've got the parking sensors there along the back, got the coverings for the exhaust tips, and then more blacked out trim. And yeah, that's the rear. Now here's the door panel in the back. Notice we got nice leather trim all over the door panel itself. Got a speaker for the Meridian sound system and then a couple more speakers just down below with the door lock and unlock, even for the rear passengers, which is pretty cool. And then here are the seats in the back. So we've got the leather with the perforated leather. Goes down the center, looks really nice with the stitching. And then notice we've got the climate controls here for the back. You've got the charging ports, all that fun stuff. And yeah, I mean, other than that, that's pretty much everything for the back. I'll quickly pop in so you guys can see space. Now notice that the driver's seat's pretty far back because it has memory seats, so it's like back, so access is easier. That's a more accurate representation of space. And yeah, so with all that being said, let's head to the front. Now here's the door panel at the front. So again, we've got the really nice leather trim all over the door panel itself. Got the window controls with the mirror adjustments, more speakers for that Meridian sound system. And then this does have the memory seat function. And again, I love the look of the door handle. Got the Range Rover logo. And then here are the seats at the front. Notice we've got a really like cushiony, pillowy headrest there at the top. And then you guys can see the rest of the seat, again, with the perforated leather and the stitching. Adjustments on the side of the seat. You can see the pedals just down below. And there's where I'm gonna look forward, pop in. Here's our steering wheel. We've got really nice leather trim on the outside, and then perforated leather here on the center. And then notice we have the metallic strip that kind of dissects all of it. Cruise control with our heated steering wheel button, voice command controls on the other side with the menu button. Really nice stitching all over. Got the turn signal / light stock, windshield wiper stock, and yeah, that's the steering wheel. Now I've got the center screen here. If I press the menu button there on the steering wheel, it changes the screen view so you can see different bits of vehicle information. This is pretty much on all of the new Land Rovers, so nothing too groundbreaking from that perspective. I mean, for like a regular vehicle is cool, but like Land Rovers, they all have it. Now, we have a few different drive modes. We've got our Eco mode, and then we have Eco back to the Comfort program, and then we've got the, takes forever for it to change, the Grass, Gravel, Snow program, and then, wait for it, we've got the Mud and the Ruts, and then finally, wait for it, we've got the Sand program. Yeah, it takes a second to actually change from the programs themselves, but yeah, that's the different drive modes. Now here's the center infotainment system. First off, we're actually going to pop it into reverse. So we've got the backup camera with trajectory lines. They do turn with the steering wheel. Resolution on the camera is also really good. And aside from that, if we actually go to the rest of the infotainment system, response time with the screen is fantastic. Has Apple CarPlay, has Android Auto. I think it looks great as well. And yeah, I mean, other than that, that's that screen. Now we've got a screen below that. So this is kind of to adjust like the drive modes, for example. So you can see that you've got the seats that you can adjust. We have heated, cooled seats for the front and also for the rear as well. So we've got all the different climate zones and all the different seat adjustments, and it's a great world we're living in, which actually I'm going to turn the cooled seats back on. So you just gotta flip it over like that and boom. We've got the cooled seats on. Works great, but yeah, that's a 2-screen setup. So you can see we've got the covering right here for a couple of cup holders, shifter for the 8-speed automatic, and then notice we've got the stability control here, and then you can press this to change the different drive modes, and this actually is a little bit quicker. Air suspension buttons right here, hill descent control, parking brake, and then we've got the center console, which also doubles as a refrigerator, and yeah, definitely cool. Well, actually, it's not even on, and it's cool. So I imagine if I put it on, it'll be even cooler. So it already kind of stays cool naturally, but then when you have it on, it'll cool it down even more because it'll blow AC into there. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Haha, see what I did there? Anyways, more stitching on the center console. Leather trim on the dash all over. It's all really nice stuff. And then we've got the dual glove box, which notice that it opens up 2 different ways. Pretty nice stuff. And then finishing things here at the very top, we've got our panoramic sunroof, controls for it right there. It's all black, traditional mirror, and yeah, that's all. So here's our window sticker for the Silver Edition, and notice this is everything that comes with the Silver Edition itself. I love how it's like $4,200, but it's a $6,200 value. It's like they're like trying to sell you on it. Anyways, notice again, everything else, feel free to freeze a frame. And then you can see a couple of options that have been added to this, but the Silver Edition already comes pretty fully loaded, so you don't really need to add any options. And then you can see $83,770 for the total MSRP. Let's take her out and see how she drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. So you guys can see visibility over the hood. Both of the mirrors, they do have blind spot. And then the rest of the rear. And you guys can now kind of see the heads-up display as well. But anyways, let's set off. Starting off here in the Range Rover Sport, let's first talk about just the overall feel of this. So the seats really comfortable. They're also really supportive as well. And just definitely feels like a nice upscale luxury vehicle. There's leather literally covering everything, and all the touch points are really nice, and so yeah, that is all great. Aside from that, actually getting up and moving, ride quality really good. It's exceptionally smooth. The air suspension definitely helps out a lot. Obviously that gives you adjustability, but on top of that, right, it helps out with just really mitigating things on road and just smoothing things out quite a bit. Moving on from the ride quality to the road noise, super quiet. Like, yeah, it pretty much takes you out of the world, so that's really good as well. I definitely like the fact that you've got so many ventilated seats. I was just thinking about that. I was like, you know what? That's like the biggest flex ever. You're like, hey, like you have a rear passenger, like, hey, you can have a cooled butt too. I don't know, random point. But anyways, overall, definitely a really comfortable vehicle and just a great daily driver. We're gonna get our acceleration here in just a moment and see how this engine, of course someone's driving a little like, oh my goodness. Yeah, definitely peppy from an acceleration perspective. Maybe if that person used their turn signal before they were changing lanes, then I would have known that they wanted to get into my lane. But no, we can't do that in Utah. That's not a thing. Between people driving RC cars on the road and people not using their turn signals, my goodness. Utah, learn to drive. But yeah, acceleration it's great. This 3-liter has a little bit of lag, but once you get up and move, it is super quick. The transmission's really crisp with the shift, so that's really good as well. But what I will say is it's not the 5-liter V8. Just it doesn't have the sounds and it doesn't have that immediacy. Fuel economy is going to be better. It's a little bit quieter, even at like idle, which makes sense because it's a smaller engine. But yeah, it's not the 5.0. It's just not the 5.0. That V8 is just so peppy and just so strong, and you just can't beat it. And so yeah, we'll sum things up. So I think this is a great looking package from an exterior perspective. Interior is great. You get tons of nice luxury features, so it's a really good value. The engine's fantastic, but the biggest competition to this is a sport with a 5.0 V8. That's kind of the way that I would go. It sounds better, and it performs better, and everything about that engine, other than the fuel economy, is better. So yeah, that's my take on it. Now let's get some things up for our video on this 2022 Range Rover Sport HSE Silver Edition. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Range Rover here in Salt Lake for giving me some time with the Sport. Check out the inventory link below. I'll see you guys.